I'm pretty sure this is left now. Okay, don't worry. We're gonna one day nail this, but I think we're on the right track at this point. Ken, what do you got to share with us?
Dude, you guys didn't invite me back for a long time.
I know.
Dude.
Listen, how about this? How about the first episode of our second season had Ken? And then how about this is it? This is the last episode of the second season. We end with Ken, and then we end forever.
End forever?
Yeah.
Oh, no, that's terrible. I'm so sad.
No, you mentioned something funny and intriguing before you walked out the door.
Oh, yeah.
So tell us about that.
It's weird because, so, of course, you guys know, Courtney's sister has a bakery in Burbank.
Right, Mallory. The only one I haven't met yet. Well, and Gavin. And Dakota.
So the thing is...
Dakota?
I don't know. What's your other brother's name?
Well, I have two other brothers.
Yeah, Gavin and...
Braden and Kieran.
Who's Gavin? I thought you had a brother named Gavin.
There's no Gavin.
I'm one of 6 kids.
I'm pretty sure there's no Gavin.
So you've met my mom and you've met Fiona.
Yeah.
You have not met Kieran, Gavin, Braden, or Mallory.
So you have a brother named Gavin. That's the main thing.
Oh, there is a Gavin.
There is a Gavin.
There is a
I
Gavin.
didn't make this up. I'm not a crazy person, usually.
Most of the time.
Yeah, so I went up to the bakery with my sister, so we picked up some...
Right. Oh, yeah. I remember you were like really
some
trying to
baked
get
goods.
some baked goods, yeah.
So I brought my sister along,
Yeah.
and then she met Courtney for the first time.
Okay.
Then subsequent weeks, my sister would just bring up, "Hey, how's your friend doing? The really pretty one." I just my response is like, "Oh, you mean Courtney? Oh yeah, we used to be married at one time." That's why I tell everybody. No, because
Did she get confused by that?
No, she doesn't get confused by anything anymore.
Wait, I'm not sure I follow. So who was married to who?
Ken and I were married.
Oh, okay.
Back in high school, in order to fundraise, they used to take like pictures of us during Valentine's Day, and people stand under like this kind of wedding awning.
People do a lot of weird shit in high school. I mean, and really, when you look back on it, you really have to think, man, the kind of shit that people do normally in high school that you think is normal is really kind of weird. For example, every couple months they turn the school, or no, not that they turn school. Every couple months, the school hosts a club. I mean, really think about that for a second. The school hosts a club every couple months, right? These dances, right? Yeah. They auction off seniors and stuff like that to like raise money for, I don't know, just some weird shit at schools.
I don't think we ever had an auction at our high school.
No?
Did we?
I don't think we did. I don't think our high school was cool enough for that.
Yeah, we didn't like the fact of legal prostitution. I did do that in college, though. I raised a lot of money.
I auctioned myself off.
I auctioned myself off, too.
I was very surprised that I did make like the second most amount of money.
Oh, nice.
Which is pretty good. But I think it was more out of the comedy factor and less out of the hotness factor. I don't think the women bought me because like, oh, yeah, take it off. No, it was more like, I'm going to make him do weird stuff and then laugh.
Noosh, I got bought by my guy friend. And you know, he was so nice about it too. He like gave like a lot of money, but he got like another lady to like bid on me. So I actually thought, oh, cool. That attractive white lady likes me. No, it wasn't an attractive white lady. That was sad.
Well, go on. You're talking about high school. You were married at some point.
Yeah, I was married to
Courtney.
Yeah.
Yes, we were married.
Never went anywhere though. I think marriage is overrated.
Wait, hold on. So this was just like a joke?
No, it was a Valentine's Day thing. We got married.
I know.
Yeah.
I
had a marriage in high school,
they
too.
did it again for, I forget what year. I think it was our senior year, and by that time they were now offering divorces. So you can get married, and then you can walk across the lawn and get a divorce. So that's a good indication for our generation on our view of marriage. Just get married and then get divorced.
You know what? None of us are divorced yet. So pretty good, right?
We're not a Ross yet. Yeah. One of my friends in high school, he got some kind of like it's like a print out online registrar priest license, so he can like marry people.
Oh, ordained minister.
Yeah, and so ordained minister, and so he got one of those things online, and so we thought, oh, we should host a marriage ceremony in drama class. And so me and this one girl got married. We had rings. We exchanged rings. A friend of ours gave her away.
Oh my God.
And everything. Actually, when she and I had we had like a little thing going on for a while, but then when we broke off that thing, I actually, dude, this is how stupidly dramatic sometimes high school is. I gave her back the ring. Like, I don't need this anymore. That's pretty bad. I'm actually kind of really embarrassed by that. Okay, look, finish the story. What this Courtney's sister? Your sister is like really into Courtney now.
Yeah.
Okay.
Where's that pretty girl? I was like, Courtney? And like she keeps asking me this question on a weekly basis. Like I haven't talked to her. Like my sister does that. I talk to her and like, and she tells me stories about, hey, you know when this happened? It's like, yeah, I told you that news story. Hey, do you know when blah blah blah? Like she like someone that has like no recollection of anything. She asks me on a regular basis, hey, who's that? Where's that cute girl and stuff like that?
Huh.
Interesting.
I think she's in love with you.
You know what? By the way, we need to let her know Courtney's not a lesbian because clearly that rumor has spread too far. If your sister,
now, did you spread that rumor?
I mean, clearly I did because I'm the one who brought it up all those.
No,
times.
you start all the weird rumors.
Yeah.
Like you start like stuff that I've like I can't imagine how you like put two and two together. Like because remember,
was there anything else that
there was a lot, but I don't want to talk about it.
Okay.
There's a lot. You make up a lot of stuff in your head.
It's because I do. I jump to conclusions and then I assume it must be real. Okay, let me tell you one thing that's happening. So one thing is that like basically, I'll be as vague as possible.
Okay.
Some girl.
You're really good at that.
Yeah, some girl is text messaging me, right?
Mm-hmm.
And here's the thing, I had this overwhelming suspicion. Like, what if it's really like some guy pretending to be some girl? Like, I'm really paranoid about that right now.
Do you actually have any basis for this
No,
delusion?
I don't.
Okay.
But I'm just really thinking that, I don't know. Like
Okay, wait. Have you had physical contact with this person? Like
in years, I haven't. They messaged me out of nowhere.
But you do know this person, like in real life.
In real life,
you didn't meet the person online,
right?
Or something
No.
like
I met
that.
them in real life just a long time ago.
Well, if you've known her in the past, I doubt that it's just some random dude messing with you.
I know, but what if?
Dude, that's like the weird.
There
what?
is a possibility, I guess.
No,
but
I have a weird thing too, and this is kind of like PG-13.
Okay.
When I first like hang out with a girl, like it's all cool and stuff, but if we start getting like intimate and stuff like that, like I sleep over at her place, I always have this weird fear that she's gonna murder me in the middle of the night.
That is, I mean, listen, coming from Noosh, that's a valid fear. I'm always
dude, like,
that.
because you don't know, like,
don't
who's
know.
a murderer and stuff like that.
I was just gonna say I can say that too because I love true crime stories, and actually I fall asleep to the ID channel, which is the Investigation Discovery
oh man,
channel.
that's a bad
that
channel.
just makes you
That's
paranoid.
like full of that. But I mean, like I love that stuff. So, but now it's just I'm always my mind. Like I talked to my friend out of going to meet this random lady for a supposed job interview because I'm like, it sounds like she's baiting you, and like you're gonna get murdered, so you should not go.
Yeah.
So I totally feel you guys on that one.
By the way, this whole Facebook Live thing, you've never pointed at anybody but me, pretty much. This whole
I know.
time.
I've
Have
been
you?
going back and
Oh,
forth.
okay, good. I was like,
No, she pointed at me for the longest time.
okay. You didn't point at yourself though.
Is that Mr.
No, I'm good.
Yeah, whatever, Mr. Narcissist.
Okay, so let's get started with the episode. As you can notice, Facebook fam, Ryan is not in the seat, so he is far, far away.
We should put like a hat there or
We should
something.
put a picture of Ryan there.
A
Actually,
picture
we should
with
get a
a
picture
hat.
of Ryan and put Ryan there because, for all we know, Ryan, this is going to be a regular thing, pretty much.
Yeah. Well, he did join us briefly in some comments. He did say that this is Ryan's ghost, Cincinnati Freedom. I don't know what that last part means, but,
Yeah.
He's dead.
but he did say that he's haunting the show.
Good. I hope he wants to.
He's dead, or at least dead to you, Noosh.
No, he's never dead to me. If
Yeah.
if
like your BFF.
If Ryan crossed over, then I would be obligated to cross over. You know that whole thing where like when like a king gets buried, like 12 or 100 of his followers must bury themselves alive with the king. It's kind of like that with me and Ryan. It's something like that.
If you guys watch like that, there's like this particular Simpsons like clip where Mr. Burns said that he's got like his
Smithers.
mausoleum,
Smithers.
and like burying Smithers alive, and he has this like weird look,
Yeah, he actually had Smithers look as if he was terrified.
terrified, burying alive. It's
Yeah.
like that kind of thing.
All right. Well, hey guys, so let's go ahead and start the show. Welcome to another episode of whatever this show is. Here we go.
Let's go crazy!
we're back.
And we're back.
I didn't know. I've never had that happen.
Oh.
Yeah, we're definitely back. Okay, so I was gonna say it feels good to be back, doesn't it?
I think that was a good start.
Yeah.
Good start to coming back.
So the last, just so our fans know what happened, the 2 weeks ago, Ryan had some scheduling issues. He wasn't able to come in that day, so we just canceled the episode. I think if you tuned in, you heard me playing like random music. I just did nothing that day. Last week was spring break, so the entire station was closed. So, we didn't do a show. So we are back. We will do our best to be as consistent as possible. I promise this. Listen, the first 2 seasons are always like us trying to get it right.
Yeah.
3rd season, we're going to knock it out of the park. We have a whole summer to plan. We're going to nail it. It's going to be great. You're going to love it. Imagine my Trump voice or something. You're going to love it. It's
Oh,
gonna be
God,
great.
don't say that. Please don't say that. I'm going to, jump out the window if you say that. I can't
How many
stand that
episodes are
voice.
left in this season?
We have 6 more weeks.
Ooh.
So 6 more episodes at least. But because of Ryan's scheduling stuff, I don't want to some of the best topics that we have in mind. I want to save those for when we know.
when he's here.
Yeah. So we'll do what we can till then. So, by the way,
Dude, so what you just told people right now is it's gonna be crap for the next 6 weeks.
well, not crap. It's just our star stuff. We need Ryan for that. So, by the
Yeah.
way, really quick, welcome to another episode of A Day Without Ryan. I'm your host, Danushka Kumara Singha. Might be a few days without Ryan.
I'm Courtney.
And our guest today is our regular guest, Ken.
Yeah, Mr. Ken.
And so, just for the game part, I have one of those.
Okay.
So, Ryan's not here, but if Ryan were here and if this was Lost, did we
Okay.
do Lost already? No,
I
we
don't
didn't.
think so.
Yeah. If this is Lost, Ryan would definitely be Sawyer with all of his
Oh, yeah,
quips and all of
Sawyer.
his witty banter, witty
And
jokes.
women.
And women. I would be Hugo. I
Hugo?
feel like I would totally be Hugo, dude. Totally, dude.
Totally.
Courtney, I feel like you would definitely be Juliet. You'd be the Juliet of the show.
To remind me, so I did start to watch Lost. My uncle got me into it, and then I forget which season I left off on.
Juliet was
But-
season 4, I think. She was she was one of the later characters introduced. She's a doctor. She's a very pretty no nonsense, straightforward.
Okay. Am I no nonsense?
No, not well. You're pretty nonsense, but you are
Okay.
Juliet's the smartest person on the island.
Oh,
clearly,
okay.
so that's what it is.
All right, gotcha.
Listen, until I get my PhD one day and outrank you in terms of that, you will be the smart person on the
Okay.
show.
Well, we can go with that.
And Ken, you would be, and you tell me if you got up to this character. Ken, you'd be the Desmond of the show.
I love Desmond.
I love Desmond too.
I thought you were gonna say Locke. I was like, no.
No. You're totally the Desmond of the show. Yeah.
He has nice hair.
Yeah, he does.
Oh
and
no,
so do
not
you.
nice as Sawyer though.
Nah, Desmond has way nicer hair, and his hair is closer to yours too. Yeah.
So nobody's the main guy.
No, nobody's. Maybe Ryan, I guess. Ryan is Locke. He's Jack. He's Sawyer.
He's just an amalgamation of all of them.
Yeah. So on today's topic for the episode is escapes. We are talking about escapes today.
Have you guys done Oh no, you said you've done an escape room before.
I've done escape rooms. I've had escape scenarios where I've had I've done stuff. I'm a prank person. If we do a prank episode, I would talk about my pranks. But I've done a prank one. One of the escape pranks I had to do was I printed out. I went to the teacher's lounge to print out a bunch of flyers denouncing ASB as a corrupt organization. By the way, those flyers, I plastered them all over school, including all over the ASB's front door. They tore it down and then I plastered it again. But I need to make photocopies, obviously.
Yeah, obviously.
So I went to the teacher's lounge without any permission. I just kind of put it there. I photocopied. There's teachers there, and they just didn't suspect what I was doing. They were like, "Oh, what are you doing?" "Oh, I'm just making some copies for XYZ teacher." I don't remember who. I was making copies, and I made a bunch. And the thing is, I can't let anybody see it, so I just shoved it under my shirt. And
That's not being obvious.
And then I just walked out, and it was the most. I felt like I was on prison break or something. By the way, the reason we're doing escape this week, I like to think, is because there's a new season of Prison Break out, and did you watch Prison Break?
Oh yeah.
I watch it because I know. Listen, I mean, I didn't go into it thinking this, but I continued watching every season because of how bad and good it was at the same time.
Yeah.
It was so bad, it's so good. It was one of those shows.
Like you're thinking, there's no way these 5 guys could be in this different prison doing the same thing season after season.
I really wondered, how is it that they keep getting sent to prison? And also, how is it that they still have a story? It really should have been a 2-season show. It's just the prison and then the fugitive season. And that's it. That's all it should have been.
Well, these days it's always stretching it out and making it go beyond its time.
They went into this whole thing where there was like a conspiracy. They brought back an entire. Basically, they went Fast and Furious. Basically, that's what you do. You make it go Fast and Furious, where all the criminals, all the cops, they come together and work together as like a elite unit to bring down some like corrupt government or corrupt
You're gonna
organization.
get Fast and the Furious 500, the fight against aliens.
Oh my gosh, that'd be glorious.
I really think do you think they're gonna reboot it? Because there's nothing what else could they
Reboot Fast and the Furious?
Of course they will. Why wouldn't they?
Fast and the Furious exists purely on the willpower and charm of Vin Diesel. That is literally the only thing keeping that series going.
Well, it was, I think, Paul Walker and Vin Diesel. And
Well,
then
it
now
was,
that Paul
but-
Walker is
Right,
gone,
it's
Vin
just
Diesel.
Vin. And well, actually, The Rock also, as long
Yeah,
as
once
they can
he joined.
afford The Rock.
I will tell you, I have never seen one Fast and the Furious movie. I've seen parts of ones. I can't tell you which ones I've seen, but I have not sat through an entire movie of it.
Listen, we need to talk about escapes, but I want to say this. Let me tell you guys why I love Fast and Furious so much. And I feel like, Ken, I've talked to you about this before. I didn't care about Fast and the Furious. I watched the first one when I was like 12 years old. It was 2000 or 99 or whatever. And then I never watched any of the others because of the fact that I saw the trailer for Fast and Furious 2 with Paul Walker and Tyrese saying, bruh. What up, bruh? Hey, bruh. Saw, bruh. Oh, God. I was like, what is this? Paul Walker, you have no right to say bruh. What is this? It was terrible. And so I was not interested. But then something really interesting happened. It was up to Fast and the Furious 5. That one just came out. 6 was coming out.
Yeah.
So this is like 10 years later.
Yeah.
And I read an article somebody wrote. It was not like a Reddit article. And basically what this person said is that Fast and the Furious is the greatest or the best Dungeons and Dragons movie ever made.
What?
And it was brilliant. Have I talked to you about this, Ken?
No, you
Oh
didn't
my
tell me
gosh.
about
Okay,
this.
Okay, imagine this. Okay, basically, the reason why it's the best is because, first of all, you need to know this. Vin Diesel is a huge Dungeons and Dragons fan.
Okay.
Hold on, Fast and Furious. I gotta find the quote. Hold on. Okay, so Vin Diesel is the best. Oh, sorry. He is a huge Dungeons and Dragons fan to the point where that for like one of the later editions of the book that came out in like 2012, he wrote the like introduction page.
Oh, wow.
He wrote that whole thing. And the director of Fast and the Furious 4, 5, and 6, Justin Lin, he's a huge fan also. Fast and the Furious 4 was a relaunch kind of for the series, right? Because 2 didn't have Vin Diesel, 3 didn't have anybody. 4 was Vin Diesel and Paul Walker coming back. And so when Justin Lin came back on to do that, fourth movie, him and Vin Diesel talked about kind of approaching it with more of like a Dungeons and Dragons feel to it. And the thing is this, Vin Diesel has done movies with a Dungeons and Dragons feel to it because that was part of the whole reason why he did the Pitch Black series. He wanted to world build that kind of environment. And when you think about Pitch Black, it kind of is like a Dungeons and Dragons fantasy sci-fi kind of thing going on, So this article I read basically was describing how why Fast and Furious is such a great Dungeons and Dragons movie is because all the other Dungeons and Dragons movies, the ones with dragons and swords and dwarves, they failed because all they did was do cargo cult stuff. They focused on just the trappings of Dungeons and Dragons. But what Fast and the Furious did is it tapped into why people play Dungeons and Dragons. And the idea is that Dungeons and Dragons is about hanging out with your friends, doing cool stuff while you continue to grow in level and skill and gameplay. And basically he said that like the guy who wrote the article was talking about how he was floored because he watched Fast and Furious 5 and then watched the other ones. And he realized, whoa, it's crazy because Fast and Furious 1 has, it's so low key compared to 5.
Yeah.
Fast and Furious 1 has like cool ass cars, but they just drive in straight lines. They don't do anything.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like Dungeons and Dragons where like your items in the beginning don't really do anything. They just kind of like are items. But by the time you get to Fast and Furious 5, where you have like Dom and Paul Walker, like level 50, level 70, characters, they've got like cool stuff that like does cool stuff. And another example he gave, the way this guy described in the articles, he said, In the Fast and the Furious, the cars are super important, but they don't really do much. They drive exclusively in straight lines, often badly, because these are just +2 cars compared to the +5 Vorpal Holy Avenger cars we get later.
Oh man.
Then he said also that like in Dungeons and Dragons, items define the character. You can't describe who your character is without talking about the items.
Okay.
And one of the things he says is in Fast and Furious 4, the character Letty, who got amnesia,
Okay.
she remembers who she is when she gets behind the wheel of her car and races Dom. Like that's when, so that's also a part of Dungeons and Dragons. Like your items are a part of who you are.
Yeah.
And he says, this is right. This is how you play Dungeons & Dragons. You play with friends. You build your characters up over time. You have adventures together. And the idea is you do cooler and cooler stuff together. Like, for example, when Dominic Toretto in Fast and the Furious 4 did his Superman jump, where he drives a car. Letty's car goes off a cliff or like a bridge. He drives his car off. It's so outrageous. He drives his car off like the bridge. He jumps out of the car, catches her midair, and then they survive because the car breaks. She even says, "How did you know the car would break our fall?" And he, he didn't, of course.
Yeah.
But the thing is, the article writer, he said, like, that's the thing though. Like, they're not really talking about cars. It's like tapping into the idea of in Dungeons and Dragons that you do. You take huge risks, huge gambles, and you roll criticals. Like it's that idea. Another thing he taps into, I'm sorry I'm going on about this, but this is, listen, when I was reading this article, I was like, holy shit, this is brilliant. One of the things is, in Fast and the Furious 6, if you remember the plot, the team, right, Tyrese and Paul Walker, Vin Diesel, the whole crew, they have to take on a crew of international thieves that are basically, and they describe them as like mirror doubles. Like they're like the evil doppelgangers of the crew. And these guys though are totally different than Dom's crew. Dom is all about family. Like literally in this thing he even said Dom would be a like psionic character whose power word is family, because when he says family, like he gets like superpowers or something.
Well, which is like the same line that he said when he voiced Iron Giant. Family.
So basically like the other crew, they're like gamers. They're like min-max gamers who like roll to like get the best equipment. They don't care if one character dies, because you know what, it doesn't matter. Roll a new character, it's all about the game. And, like that's their view, but that's not Dungeons and Dragons. Like Dungeons and Dragons is how Dom and them approach the game, which is about family, which is about friends. So anyway, I mean, you can read the articles. Seriously, just look for Fast and the Furious Dungeons and Dragons and you'll find it. And this guy describes how it really is the best because it just taps into the reasons people play that game. And it also another thing to point out is Paul Walker and Vin Diesel have actually, on interviews, they've said that they really wish they weren't working so much and acting so much as often as they do, because they really wish they just had time to go play some D&D, play some World of Warcraft. Like, they love playing together. In fact, Vin Diesel said part of what kept him going in the early years when he was just a bouncer trying to get into acting was he'd do his bouncing job and he'd go home and just play D&D with his friends. Like, that was what kept him going all those years. So
interesting.
Yeah. I mean, anyway, after I read that article, I was like, oh my gosh, Fast and Furious is incredible. And I watched the series and I love it. Like, I absolutely adore the series because of that. I think it's outrageous. I think it's stupid. I think it's ridiculous. But I love it so much because of that. Also, I kind of quote Dom Toretto a lot, especially the whole, like, it doesn't matter if it's an inch or a mile. Winning's winning.
Oh my god.
Or you know what your problem is? You still think you're in America. This is Brazil.
Oh my god.
Okay, all right. Enough about Fast and Furious. Let's get into our topic, which is escapes.
Escapes.
Okay.
Yes.
So, all right. I'll start us off. Okay.
Okay.
So this, actually, I'm gonna start off with I'll start off with Ryan's story. Because this is Ryan's story. This is not mine.
This is Ryan's show in memory of
Ryan.
So
this is something Ryan wanted me to share with you guys before his
demise.
Wow. I was gonna say incident, his issue, his events. Anyway, so this story is called Cincinnati Freedom. So you know the story?
No, I'm saying now it'll make sense because of his comment, his haunting comment.
Mm-hmm. So, on February 2002. Moments before being slaughtered.
It starts to a story.
Yes, it starts pretty stark. Moments before being slaughtered, a cow at Ken Myers Meat Slaughterhouse jumped a 6-foot fence and escaped. Right. I love starting with that because that first sentence is like, wait, what? There's like so much
Exactly.
going on. Yes. So moments before being slaughtered, it was in line to be slaughtered. A cow jumped a 6-foot fence at a slaughterhouse and escaped.
Good for him. Just let him go. Her.
Yeah, so her.
Let her go.
She eluded traps and tranquilizer darts from the SPCA and the police.
Nice.
For 11 days. They couldn't hit her. She was too fast. She hid too well. She was a fugitive on the run.
Just let her go. She deserves it.
She earned it.
Exactly.
Dude, I mean, actually, she earned it purely based on that 6-foot wall
Exactly,
she
just
jumped.
doing that.
I can't even jump 2 feet.
Exactly. I'd say just let her go.
And she's on 4 feet, and she doesn't have thumbs. Anyway, they couldn't catch her yet. They couldn't even find her at times. She became the subject of several news reports, and she captured the imagination of the public due to her refusal to be slaughtered. Like, she would not be killed.
No.
The mayor, while she was missing, the mayor of Cincinnati, Charlie Lucan, pledged to give her the key to the city. Actually, as a result of that, she got the nickname Charlene Mookin. Like Mookin.
Yeah.
Charlene Mookin. She was captured 11 days later after her escape.
Mm-hmm.
However, she was no longer eligible for slaughter due to her fame because,
Yeah, you can't.
I mean, like people loved her. Animal rights
Exactly.
activists were like, "Hey, she's aware she was gonna die, and she
Yeah.
tried to escape to save her own
and plus,
life."
you named her
yeah,
Charlotte
you can't.
Mookin.
Yeah, you can't kill her.
Once you name
Right.
her, it doesn't work.
So, many facilities, including the Cincinnati Zoo, declined to house her. Nobody wanted to take care of her. Primarily for many reasons, but one of the big reasons was they cited she may not be possible to contain.
She's just too free. Too free.
Yeah.
Her spirit is wild.
So she was adopted on March 2002 by artist Peter Max, and apparently he is actually a famous artist. I've never heard of him, but he's famous. She was adopted. He paid $180,000 in paintings, so he donated the paintings to the SPCA for their next auction.
Yeah.
He named the cow Cincinnati Freedom because of the town or the city she escaped from, and freedom.
Yeah.
And the cow was, in fact, given the key to the city by the mayor.
What is a cow going to do with the key to the city? I mean, you pointed out she doesn't even have thumbs.
Well, I mean, actually, even if a human being had the key to the city, they
Well,
still
it's just
couldn't-
a symbol.
It's a
I know.
symbol, yeah. But
I got that. I was just trying to.
Yeah.
Never mind.
Now I want to see how this cow looks like.
you can find. She's
I feel like,
pure white cow.
I feel like a children's series should be written with starring her and like her adventures that she goes on.
Yeah, and
Charlotte Mookin.
all her friends she makes.
Cincinnati
She
Freedom.
befriends a mouse from the countryside.
Exactly.
Who's just trying to find his family. Maybe
She goes on adventures to free other animals from
Yeah.
the slaughterhouse.
Oh my gosh,
She
yes.
creates a whole escape from the slaughterhouse.
Yeah.
Like this is a total children's book series.
So she did find a permanent home. She went to the Farm Sanctuary's New York shelter, so she was brought there on April 2002. She spent the rest of her life there, and in regard to how she died, she eventually developed spinal cancer, which
Aw.
is incurable in cows.
Yeah.
And actually, it was a really sweet thing because her herd at the farm was very loving towards her. Like, they were licking her. They stayed by her side as she laid there. There were other cow escapees that were with her. And her two closest friends, Queenie and Annie Dodge, were also cow runaways.
Nice.
But yeah, she was euthanized on December 29th, 2008.
Aw.
So,
But it
and-
sounds like she created a whole movement.
right.
That's one
She
cute.
did.
That's one cute cow. It has
you
like a
looked up a
it has a
picture?
tuft of hair on top.
Aw.
Oh, we'll have to post a picture of
Yeah, we will.
of Cincinnati Freedom. But yeah, anyway, that's the story Ryan wanted to share. The story of Cincinnati
That's
Freedom.
pretty good. That's a
Yeah.
pretty good story.
Yeah. What have you got for us?
Oh, okay.
Yeah. That was a very short story.
Yeah. So I was trying to avoid prison escapes because that seems just
Oh my gosh, it's really funny though. If you did successfully do that, the thing is that means none of us did prison escapes. For a show about escapes, we
Well, because
somehow,
it's just stereotypical
Yeah.
to do a prison escape.
we should do another escape episode someday and actually do some prison escapes, because there are some crazy.
There are some ones. I mean, the one that you would
escapes.
always think of is the Alcatraz one, which they
Right,
made
the
into a
Great
movie
Escape.
and everything. Oh, that's the Great Escape is from World War II. Alcatraz is the escape from Alcatraz.
Oh, okay. I mean, well, there's some that I think some people haven't heard of. Like one of my favorites has to do with helicopters. Actually, it's a serial helicopter fugitive. So that is, I mean, imagine the guy who does that. Yeah, that's we'll do that in another episode.
Yeah, no, there's a couple different ones. Like I was reading one that was the 5 greatest slave escapes, how slaves were escaping to go to freedom, and there were some pretty crazy ones. Like they were being very inventive. But what I ended up going with was I found these 2 stories that I thought were really good. Actually, they ended up all being British pilots that escaped from POW camps in World War II when they were captured. So the first one involves British flight lieutenant pilots Oliver Philpott and Eric Williams, and then also a British soldier named Richard Codner. Philpott and Williams were shot down, and they were brought to the prison camp. They're not sure on how Codner got there, but the point is he was there.
He was on vacation. He just wanted.
Well, one thing that said it was like, one thing that I read, they're like, well, they think that maybe he even wanted to get captured just to have the thing to say that we escaped, because he made some comment later, I guess in an interview or something, that doing that escape like made him feel alive. Like you don't feel alive until you're hunted. Like so the adrenaline rush really got to him. So he might have gotten captured on purpose just to be able to create that escape.
There's a lot of better ways to get your rush, Codner.
Exactly. So they were brought to the Nazi prison camp. It was called Stalag Luft 3, and it's southeast of Berlin. So it's like in the heart, almost in the heart of Germany. And so this is the way they set up the camp, it was hard to escape. So some of the things that they set up to make sure that people don't escape was, one, the barracks were raised 24 inches off of the ground. So the guards could be able to see if they're tunneling anything.
Oh, okay.
And then.
Dang, yeah. That's really, I mean, that's a really simple but effective.
Yep.
So
there is that. The subsoil was very sandy, so even if they were able to, well, that goes with it too, but even if they were to dig tunnels, it was very loose and collapsible sand, so it would be hard to keep the tunnels up so they can get through. And then also the sand was bright yellow, so they would notice if all of a sudden the darker gray underneath the soil is coming up to the top, because the main part of it is yellow.
So it's like layered sand.
Yeah. Huh. So, I mean, that stuff pretty much made it hard for them to do it. So in October 1943, in the East Compound, what these 3 soldiers did was they created a gym vaulting horse. And so, the pommel horse, so they created that. They did it out of plywood that they got from Red Cross packages. And what they did was, this was like a modern day Trojan horse type of thing. So
wait, a pommel horse is way too small for people to hide in, right?
But they did hide in it.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
So it was designed to hide men. 1 to 2 men would fit inside of it, tools and containers for the sand. And the other thing that would also, I forgot to say, that deterred people from tunneling was that they set up seismographic microphones around the perimeter.
Oh, wow.
So it would be able to pick up sound.
Right.
So if anyone digging, right? So pretty impossible to try to get out of this place. So what they did was they created this pommel horse. 1 to 2 men, they would take shifts and they would be in it, and soldiers would bring the pommel horse out each day into the yard and put it close to the perimeter of the fence, and they would actually be practicing gymnastics while the men inside would be tunneling. And so the men practicing gymnastics would be making a lot of noise. They wouldn't really hear digging.
The pommel horse rests on the ground then? Because usually from what I've seen, they're elevated.
Yeah, I know. I'm not quite sure how that worked exactly, but this is what they did. Okay. So I was a little confused about that too, but I didn't find anything somehow it worked.
Right.
So, they actually practiced gymnastics to disguise the sounds of digging and everything. And then at the end of the day, they would place a wooden board over the tunnel, and then they would move the soil around and just make it look like it was normal, and they'd bring the pommel horse back in, and the guards would be walking right over their tunnel. We didn't even know what was going on. So this took 3 months to do. They dug over 100 feet of the tunnel, and the shovels that they used were bowls. That's what they used to dig it. And then October 19th, they made their escape. Williams and Codner stowed away on a Danish ship and went back to Britain. Philpott posed as a Norwegian and got on a train and then went on a Swedish ship to Stockholm, and then he made his way back to Britain.
Wait, why didn't you go with the other guys?
Maybe just 'cause,
You know what? Honestly, maybe it's just Codner. Oh no, that was Philpott who did that. Codner went straight to Britain.
Yeah. Well, because probably
Codner got his fix.
Maybe there's so many, they didn't want to draw attention to themselves. So, just kind of split up the party would be my guess. So, they each wrote their own book, and there actually was a movie. So, Williams wrote a book called Goon in the Black. It was later changed to The Wooden Horse. And then Stolen Journey was written by Philpott, and then there was a 1950 film called The Wooden Horse. So if you guys want to see more about it. But I'm just like, they took a page right out of the Trojan War. Like, they just created a Trojan horse. So I thought that was pretty cool.
It's interesting because there's a lot of escape stories from World War II.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of reason to escape during World War II.
Well, there's also a very good story that's kind of like that. It was after World War II about the Cold War. So in East Germany, they kind of split off.
Yeah,
I don't know if you ever heard of this movie. It's what's it called? I think it's called Night Crossing. It's a pretty good movie, and it's pretty.
I've heard of it.
So it's about two men in East Germany that decided to build a hot air balloon in communist East Germany, and actually flew it out of East Germany somehow.
Nice. Yeah.
There's a story about a guy who built a plane. He basically got the parts. He lived in East Germany. He built the parts, and he built a plane. He went to the park with the equipment, put it together. Like, he built it in his house with the parts, brought it to a park, put it together, and then just flew over the wall before anybody could stop him. The thing is this, his brother, like his two brothers, like his brother and his friend were still there in East Germany. So what he did then was him and some other guy, they flew two planes over the wall again to East Germany, but the reason they took two instead of one was they wanted to film the escape. Like, they could have just taken one plane, got 4 guys inside, and took it back, but instead they took 2 planes over. They painted it like the Russian colors of a Russian plane, so the guards don't realize what's happening.
Yeah.
As they came to land in East Germany, they realized the place they were going to land in, a circus set up.
Oh, nice.
So they couldn't land. Like, oh, no. So one of the planes, the camera plane, stayed in the sky. The one that was going to land to pick up the guys landed next to the circus. The 2 guys they were rescuing got in, and then they flew. And, like, apparently, like, soldiers were like, what's up with these planes? But then, like, by the time they realized what was happening, they already got over. Yeah.
Well, hey, if the will is there and you really want to get out, you'll come up with all sorts of crazy things to get out of there.
Is it bad to admit that my favorite kind of like escape movie is Chicken Run?
That's a good one.
Well, Chicken Run
was
Chicken
Run.
The analogy for escaping from like a Nazi prison camp. Like it was that.
They were going to put him in the oven and make chicken pies.
Yeah.
And what's funny about that, and I don't know, maybe ironic, is that the main character is voiced by Mel Gibson.
Oh, yeah. That's right. Huh.
And his personal history there.
On this topic, something like this whole conversation brought up something. Forget Lost for a second. What if we were the characters, since I know you watch now, if we were the characters from Prison Break, who would we each be? I want to propose, this is between you and me, that we have to decide, because Courtney doesn't watch the show. I know Ryan doesn't watch the show, and he's not even here. So I want to propose, I'm pretty sure I would be Schofield. Like I'm the master planner of this whole setup. I'm literally the
good-looking guy.
Well, that's just an added perk, I guess, of being Schofield. But no, the brains of this operation, like not the academic brains, but like I'm actually getting this show off the ground brains of this operation. I think I'd be Schofield.
As long as I'm not Teabag, because I don't want people to call me Teabag.
Nobody
wants to be called Teabag.
I cannot believe Teabag has lived so long on that show.
You know, it's weird just because he's like somewhat good, somewhat bad, but mostly bad, but he's still alive.
He's a monster.
He's a monster.
Listen, you know the thing about that show is, that when they escaped the first season, they had to like bring along and it was riveting stuff. They had to bring along a bunch of it was supposed to be the two brothers escaping, right?
Yeah.
One brother goes in to get the other one out, but along the way they had to make deals to bring other people out.
Okay.
And one of them was like this serial killer named Teabag, Southern fried serial killer basically, and he's a monster.
He's like the creepiest guy on the show.
He is a one of the
just
things.
from that description, I wouldn't say Ken is teabag.
No, I wouldn't say. I've never even suggested Ken
No,
is.
I know, but he said he didn't want to be, so I would agree that you're not that one.
I feel like. Well, let's go to Ryan. Ryan, I think he would be. I think he'd be. What's his name? Lincoln.
Yeah,
He'd totally be Lincoln.
Because you would go into prison and break him out.
And he'd do the same for me. He'd do the same for me. And also, Lincoln is like the grounded one. Schofield's like. He's.
I'm gonna take down the establishment.
Schofield's the guy who's like, I'm gonna tattoo the prison map to my body. Schofield's the one who's like, let's break out. Lincoln's like, I'll serve my time. So I think Ryan would be Lincoln.
Okay.
I think you, Courtney, would be. What's his name, dude? Starts with a D, I think. Not D. Sorry, Mahone.
Mahone.
I feel like she'd be Mahone. Mahone is this guy who is. He's the cop who's chasing after Lincoln and Schofield. He teams up with them later, but he's like listen. You're a Dragon Ball Z fan, also, right? Listen, I'm bringing this into it. I don't know why I'm bringing this into it. Listen, did you ever get the vibe when you were watching that show that Mahone's basically Piccolo? Like, he is the bad guy, kind of unwilling bad guy who's kind of a good guy, but then becomes like an ally of them later. I don't know. I just get the Mahone vibe from you.
Okay.
Mahone's smart, also. Listen, every single person that I ever pick for Courtney is always smart. They'll never be teabag.
Well, I guess that's a good thing, so thank you.
Yeah.
Now, I think my sister has competition. I think Noosh likes you.
I guess.
Dun, dun, dun.
Of course, I like Courtney. Let me think. For you, what do you think?
Sukra.
Sukra? Yeah.
Because he's kind of nervous, really loves his family, and he somehow just goes along with everything they do.
Yeah, and also
no matter what.
Like, I don't want to jinx it, but I feel like Sukra never dies. Like, Sukra is like the other brother.
Kill him, huh?
He's the other brother.
Mm-hmm. They all have really little buzzed hair.
Yeah, it's weird, but they really don't have much hair on that show. Also, they all, I don't know, like the names they have are also kind of Mahone, Sukra, Lincoln, Schofield, like, these names. All right. I have a question for you guys before we go on. I have two stories. Should I do sad first and then kind of crazy? Or should I do crazy and then end with sad?
Sad and then crazy.
Sad then crazy.
Here we go.
Buckle up.
This is the story of Yuri the pianist. That sounds kind of weird. Yuri the pianist. I don't know what's.
Oh, yeah.
Yuri the pianist. So Yuri was a classically trained pianist who studied at the St. Petersburg Conservatory. The year is 1986. It's April 26th. By the way, he studied in the 70s, but this jump ahead. It's April 26th, 1986. He and his musical ballet troupe. I think it's kind of obvious though. I should probably point out St. Petersburg. He's Russian. He's a Russian guy. Okay. He and his musical ballet troupe travel to a village called Pripyat for a performance. So they travel to this village in the outskirts for a performance. The kind of suspicious, funny thing about this whole thing was they were specifically hired by the government. The government hired this ballet troupe to go to a small village in the countryside to do a performance. There's a lot of red flags. This is weird. Government, village.
Exactly.
What is something that you should know about Pripyat? I think this is the point where it'll start to make sense. It's very quickly. It'll make sense. It is very close to the Chernobyl nuclear power plant. And it should also be known that, do you guys know when Chernobyl broke down and,
Was it
broke down and,
the 90s?
It's late 80s, isn't it?
Was it late 80s? I thought it was 90s.
Specifically, it was April 26, 1986.
Oh, my God.
I'm not joking.
Oh, man.
That day where they were called to that village, Pripyat, was the day Chernobyl melted down and it was leaking radiation everywhere.
Yeah.
So Yuri's bus entered the military exclusion zone at a checkpoint called Dityatki. And they didn't know what was going on. Nobody told them. They were hired to do this job, but nobody explained to them why they were hired or what was going on.
But let me just ask, were they hired before that event already happened, or the
No.
event happened and then they got booked the same day?
Yeah, they were booked the same day by the government. It happened that like morning or something like that, or it happened earlier on.
And so their response is like, "Oh, let's put on a ballet show."
Well, there's a reason the government did it.
I know, you'll
I'll
get to it, but
yeah. But yeah, well, right. I mean, like, listen, in Russia, when nuclear power plant break
Let's
down,
do ballet.
we do ballet.
Let's play across the stage.
That was the worst Russian.
That was pretty bad.
So they got to the exclusion point. Nobody told them what was going on. But what the thing was, though, they saw military men wearing gas masks. By the way, gas masks don't do anything for radiation, but you know,
It's
Duct
like
tape,
a psychological.
yeah, you have to have a full hazmat suit
Yeah.
for that. But they had gas masks. But the military was not told about the situation. The people at the checkpoints, at least, they didn't know. The people being hired to go in, the bus full of musicians and ballet dancers, they didn't know what was going on, so nobody knew what was going on. But they were just like, okay, this is really weird that they're wearing gas masks.
Always a bad sign. Always a bad sign. Anyone wears gas masks.
If I saw a gas mask, I'm like, turn this bus around.
Yeah, go the other way.
So the government kept the situation hidden from the military and these people. So they neared the Chernobyl village, Pripyat. And here's the reason the government hired this ballet troupe. They wanted to keep the citizens that were near Chernobyl as calm as possible as they experience nuclear radiation poisoning. Basically, they can't let people get out. So they hired this troupe to go in to entertain them while they basically died slow, agonizing deaths. And what's really messed up about that is the ballet troupe from St. Petersburg is like they're not going to be affected at all by this, but they were sent into their deaths basically. So that was messed up. But anyway,
in a word.
So when they got to Pripyat, they realized everybody was sick and dying, and it was then that they understood why the government hired them. Like they put two and two together. Like, okay, everybody's sick and dying. We're probably here to like distract them or something like that. Many people thought the world, because everybody's cut off, like information was cut off. Nobody's getting in and out. Many people at that time, at that place in the exclusion zone, thought the world was ending. Like they thought that's what was happening. Like the whole world was ending. Everybody's getting sick and dying. Like it was happening everywhere. No one was allowed to leave the quarantine zone. And everyone became resigned to the fact that they will all die, including the musicians. They accepted the fact that we were sent here to die. Like, we will not escape. The soldiers also knew that they were going to die. The ones in the exclusion zone who actually knew what was going on, they knew they were going to die.
This is just a no-win situation.
Yeah. So, the performance. I mean, they still were sent in to do ballet. So
the show must go on.
The show must, exactly. So, they have to do ballet. The ballet troupe knew they were the Walking Dead. That's actually the term that the story that I got is from Yuri. And Yuri was there. So that's how he describes, like, they knew they were the Walking Dead. So they gave the performance of their lives fearlessly. This is actually, it would not do any justice if I just described it. I will read Yuri's words as he described their final performance. He says, "Allow me to describe our final performance at Pripyat. As the music played, the ballerina danced like never before. The passion in the music and her movements were legendary. She was a beautiful girl, dancing her final dance with love in her heart. She allowed her long flowing hair down, and it seemed to float mystically in the air. As the music crescendoed and she spun delicately around, her hair was falling away from her head. Gently, long golden strands of her hair floated to the floor as she danced. I saw the blood leaking from her nostrils and down her cheeks from her ears. The sparse crowd knew the face of death, and it was surely the final dance. The children ran to her with flowers from the meadow. Their hair and teeth had fallen out already. The petrol generator stalled, and for several moments we were in darkness. To my utter horror, I saw the flowers and the children glowing in the dark."
Oh my god. That's
horrifying, haunting.
Yeah.
I mean, actually, that description is haunting. It is a haunting description of how he describes that. So after that performance, they were, resigned or they had to stay in their rooms. They were not allowed to out. That night, Yuri climbed out of the window where he was meant to die. Like, he was meant to die in that room. He climbed out of the window. A soldier saw him and pointed a gun at him. They made eye contact for a few moments, silently. Neither spoke, neither made a sound. Just a few feet away, like the soldier had the gun on him, about to shoot him. But they kind of, like, through their eye contact, they came to an understanding. The soldier lowered his carbine rifle silently. Yuri ran through an alley and hot-wired a car. He drove non-stop to the northwest along back roads. He avoided the military checkpoints. Along the way, he siphoned petrol from other vehicles during the night in order to have enough fuel to keep going. During his drive, he began to lose his vision due to the radiation. He drove all the way out of the USSR out of fear of retaliation from the government. And literally, by the time he made it to safety, he had lost his vision. Like, he was going blind as he drove.
Yeah.
He lived out the rest of his life outside of the USSR, but he was completely blind, and he was the only survivor of that troupe, the ballet troupe.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Where did he end up living?
You know what? The story didn't say where he ended up living, so that I don't know.
It's just in secret.
Yeah. But, I mean, that was intense.
That's pretty heavy,
Yeah.
That's pretty heavy stuff.
You have a palate cleanser after that one? That one's pretty brutal.
I have another one, but do you have another story?
Yeah, I can tell you the other escape story
Let's
I had. So this is about British fighter pilot Doug Bader, again, World War II. So he was with the RAF, and they were during their maneuvers or whatever, and they spotted about 12 German planes in formation. And Bader, I guess, was known as kind of a daredevil, and he did a lot of crazy things. So he made some maneuver, and the end result was that he ended up getting shot down, and he went down.
Goose.
Exactly.
No.
So what's interesting is that he was captured. The Germans, when they got him, they discovered that he had no legs. So
Did he wait? Did he have no legs before the crash, or?
yeah, I'm gonna rewind a little bit.
Okay.
That's part of the thing. That's why I can only imagine the Germans were like, what disease? So when he was 21 in December 1931. I guess some of the other pilots, they dared him to do something crazy. And so when he came in for a landing, he did a low roll and he hit a wing on his way down.
I'm sorry, he did like a barrel roll?
I guess.
I can only imagine.
I can only imagine, exactly. I mean, it didn't go well. He ended up losing his legs.
Unless planes can do somersaults forward, I'm pretty sure it had to be a barrel roll. Okay, so he barrel rolled too low.
Yeah, too low. And he lost his legs. He wanted to stay on as a pilot, and there weren't any rules with the RAF saying that he couldn't be a pilot.
There ain't no rule says a pilot has to have legs.
Exactly. So
You don't need legs to fly.
Since this happened in the 30s, they did actually retire him against his will. But when World War II came up again, he basically no, I'm coming back and I'm going to be a pilot. Like, you're not going to put me on a desk. And so he was allowed to go back into the RAF. So now we go back to, so he's captured by the Germans. They see that he has no legs, and they're actually fascinated by him, and they're very curious about him. And within hours after his capture, they're talking to him, they're laughing. They even let him sit in a BF 109, and Bader's just, I can only imagine Bader being like, hey, so let me take her for a spin. And the German's like, no. So, they were letting him sit in an airplane, just letting him mess around. And they even went to, when they found out that he lost his fake legs from when he crashed right then, they actually went out to the crash site. They did find one of his legs. They brought it back. They fixed it up, and they gave him that one. Then they contacted the British, told them that they had him and that he needs another leg. And so they arranged for safe transport, and the British actually dropped off his other leg for him.
The British didn't ask for him back. No. And actually, I imagine... Dude, I feel like the British would have been like, well, we want
the guy back.
They're like, no, we'll just give you the leg.
Yeah.
Well, they did. So what they ended up doing was they dropped the leg off, and since they were in the clear for a safe zone to fly, they also finished a bomb run. So which the Germans weren't happy about that part.
Wait, so they bombed someplace and then they dropped off
There's
a
a leg.
Yeah, because they were given clearance to go into that airspace. So they just, killed two birds with one stone. Drop off a leg and bomb the other target.
It's a dick move, Britain.
So he did that. But then just because he got his legs back and the Germans were fascinated by Bader turned out to be a big pain in the ass and a thorn in the side of the Germans. So his first attempted escape was while he was in the hospital. He climbed out a window using blankets. He was able to walk 100 miles before he was captured. Then he was brought back.
Was he walking on one leg or crawling on?
No, he had both legs at that time.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
He dropped it.
Remember,
Yeah,
they dropped
they
out the
dropped
leg
it
when
off,
they
yeah.
bombed him.
That's right. Wait, hold up. But
Yes.
he's an amputee who doesn't have legs. How does he walk?
You can still walk.
You can
with
still
the
walk
leg.
with thick
Oh,
legs.
it's from like the
Probably from the knee down.
knee down. Okay.
I was like, do you not
Gotcha.
remember Lieutenant Dan?
That's right.
He's got magic legs.
Of course.
He got shot in the butt.
So that was the first one. And then and he made several more attempts after that. And even eventually the Germans were like, hey, if you don't knock it off, we're going to take your legs away. And he did not knock it off. He continued to do that. So another time that he tried to escape, he was in his room and he left. He was with him and like maybe I think 3 other soldiers, and a German officer was actually coming to his room, and it's from the article I read, they're like probably to get an autograph because Bader became really famous within the German officers and things like that. So when the officer came into the room and found that it was empty, he raised the alarms and everything, so everybody was able to go out. They did end up finding him not too far. I think it was like 3 days later or something. They did find him and his crew, and they brought him back again.
I mean, I really wonder if they're even mad at this point. They're just like, oh,
Pretty funny.
Bader,
Yeah.
come on, man.
Well, and then one of the other ones was, so they finally moved him from the POW camp that he was at, and they moved him to what was actually a castle. And that made it where that castle was. It was really hard to escape, but he did it.
Yeah.
And I was reading, he was part of a group.
It was the Airy, It's a straight drop for all you
Pretty much.
Game of Thrones fans.
He was actually, what was it? He was part of a
still
group.
thinking
It
about
was like the Escape Commission or something. Leave it to the British to create a commission for planning escapes. And it wasn't him, but it was the person in charge of the commission. They're like, no, you cannot do your own tunnel. We're doing 3 tunnels. That is it. This is the only way to escape. You can't go off on your own and do your own thing. We're all in this together.
Wow, the British are really regulated like that.
Yes.
They follow their regulations, I guess.
So he was, I think he was in the middle of trying to escape, but then it was stopped because they were liberated by the Americans. And he even said, like, and he was brought to wherever the safe zone kind of was, and it was where some American planes were, and he's just like, just let me get in a plane. I still want to stick it to the Germans. He still wanted to go after them and everything like that.
After they're so nice to him.
I know. It's just, I mean, when I was reading this, I just started cracking up because I'm like, this guy, he's got some balls on
They
him.
put him in a castle?
They put him in a castle.
Was it like Castle Wolfenstein?
Was it a cell with no wall and a sheer drop? If you fall asleep, you'll roll out.
Yeah, if you want to know the name of the castle, it was Colditz Castle. So yeah, and that happened in April 1945 when it was liberated. So yeah, and I just love the threat, like, knock it off, or we're gonna take away your legs.
We're going to take away your legs. I was like, it
Yeah.
sounds like a mafia kind
I
of
know,
thing, but it's
right?
like, no, literally, we're going to take it away. You're not going to have these wooden legs.
We can't trust you.
We can't trust you.
Man, that could have been a totally different story where he just kind of hung out with the Germans for the rest of the war.
Yeah, I mean, they
He-
loved him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
By the way, this reminded me of why I think Prison Break. I think anybody who doesn't watch Prison Break all the way through can't appreciate. You have to actually not watch it. Struggle and push your way, survive your way through the entire series. You can't appreciate just the joke of basically, like, if I was to tell Ryan, like, if you were in prison, I would get tattooed and I would go into that prison and get you out. Or like, if I get into prison, basically the idea of like a dude who's like, I'll bust my brother out of prison by going into the prison with tattoo.
Yeah.
It's just outrageous. Like, the trope is so funny. It's outrageous. I kept thinking about that this whole time. It's Schofield, man, what a ridiculous, outrageous thing. Okay, I've got one last story.
All right.
Okay.
Let's hear it.
Another escape story. We've had some. You know what? Here's the thing. I put a lot of pressure on myself to find good long stories. Like, I love Edison Chen, man. I'm always shooting Edison Chen. I peaked. I'm like a child star. I peaked at Edison Chen.
Yeah.
And it's hard to get back to that again. Actually, I'm not gonna lie. I think whenever we do our hype episode, I'll have a good one. I have a nice long one for that. But I've had only a couple of short stories these days. So, all right, this story. So, actually, I don't even have a name for this story. If I tell you the name, it'll give it away. So I can't.
Okay.
The nameless story.
The nameless story. So, Bertrand Homisil is a French tourist. He is on a ship touring the Indonesian Sea near the island of Lombok
Okay.
with many multinational tourists on that ship. British, Australian, etc. Mostly like European and Western people. So they're touring the Indonesian Sea. The ship at 1:00 a.m. on Friday. Technically it's Saturday morning, but it's Friday night basically. Right? It's Saturday morning, 1 a.m. The ship struck a reef at that night due to a storm, heavy storm. They struck a reef, and the ship started to slowly sink. Half of the passengers got in a life raft to get away, but there wasn't enough room for the other half of the passengers and some of the crew. And they tried just, okay, let's just wait. And the ship's not like, it's not Titanic. It's not like going down really fast. Slowly sinking, the water slowly coming in. So they have like several hours before they're going to fully sink. But they realize they're sinking. The other the lifeboat goes off on their way because they have to get away from the ship before it takes the life raft with them. So the other passengers wait on the roof of the ship, hoping that help comes. It doesn't come, and they realize they have no choice but to swim for it in the dead of night, in the middle of the Indonesian Sea. They see that far in the distance, there is an island. So they decide, all right, we're going to swim for this thing. So I don't know how many there were. It didn't specify.
Yeah, I was going to say, how many passengers were there?
I can't say, but there's enough. There's quite a few, at least definitely 8 or more.
Okay.
So they jump into the water, and in the dead of night, they start swimming towards this island in the middle of a storm with huge waves crashing against them, And by the way, they start to realize how far away the island is. It actually did take them 6 hours of swimming to get to the island.
Yeah.
So they were swimming a long time in this storm. As they got closer to the island, they realized something very strange about the island. There's smoke coming from the top of the highest mountain. The island was erupting.
Oh my god.
No joke. It was a volcanic island, and it was straight up erupting as they were swimming towards it. This is like 3 hours in of swimming.
Yeah.
They had no choice. They have to go to the island.
Yeah.
There's nowhere else. They're exhausted. So they swim the rest of the way to get to the island. Many of them just collapse on the island. They're exhausted. But they made it. All of them made it to the island. So, it's still early morning Saturday. It's still night. And they're exhausted, they're hungry, they're tired. What they did was, in order to eat, they ate leaves. There's no food on the island. It's a volcanic island. So they ate leaves from the local plants there, and they drank their own urine to survive. By the way, these are not like hardened men. These are just tourists. Like many of them were just like women, teen. I mean, I swear some of them, I looked at them and I could totally see them being like, yeah, mom, thanks a lot. Like, I swear, they were like teenagers like that on that boat. So they were just like regular people.
Wait, sorry, I don't know if I missed it. What year did this take place?
This is like 2012.
2012.
It was recent. Yeah.
Okay.
So anyway, they ate leaves that morning or that night. They drank their own urine to survive.
Yeah.
And then morning came. And as morning came, there was another problem.
Of course.
Yeah. What they discovered was that particular island, aside from being a volcanic island that was erupting,
had a tribe that liked to drink orange soda.
by the way, I mean, while there was smoke and lava and everything, it didn't come all the way down to the beach, so they were okay.
Yeah.
Right? But it was still erupting, which is scary.
By the way, did you guys get that reference that I just made or no?
The Jack Sparrow reference? Or
No.
What was the reference?
From Joe versus the Volcano.
I don't know.
I haven't
what
seen
that is.
that.
I don't remember that.
Yeah.
It's a Tom Hanks, early Tom Hanks Meg Ryan
Yeah,
movie.
yeah.
You know what? You're totally into that. That's your thing. So good. I'll have to check it out.
All right, it's a good movie. Anyway, continue.
So as morning came, they discovered a new problem. Aside from being a volcanic island, they discovered the island was also a Komodo dragon preserve.
Oh my god.
And I'm not even joking. Komodo dragons, one of the most aggressive animals
Aggressive.
on Earth,
Yeah.
like swarms of Komodo dragons came after them.
Oh my god.
And they spent the rest of that day and the following Saturday night into Sunday morning fighting Komodo dragons.
Oh my gosh.
Like they had sticks and stones. They had to beat them off. They had to get to like high ground on top of rocks and boulders if there were any available. And these Komodo dragons were after them.
Oh my god.
So they were fighting Komodo dragons for an entire day. And then finally, Sunday morning, they were rescued by a passing boat.
Yeah.
And they were able to get off the island. They also discovered earlier the lifeboat was also rescued. Nobody died or anything
Well, that's
like
good.
that.
Wow.
Everyone survived. But it was a harrowing experience. Just for me, I think the most crazy part was not the shipwreck, but it was swimming to the island in the night, seeing fire coming out
yeah.
in the night, and then waking up
cherry
in the
on
morning.
top?
Yeah, waking up in the morning after all of that and discovering, holy shit, there's giant lizards on this island.
That's like, how worse could it get? And then it just keeps topping each other.
Exactly. But hey, it's a hell of a story that you can
I
now
know.
look back on and tell your friends and share
Yeah, I
on
was like-
Facebook.
Yeah.
That's
That's-
awesome, though. It was like shipwrecked. We swam to an island. It was volcanic. And then we
Too bad-
fought freaking dragons.
You know that if this actually happened like today or whatever, if people had waterproof phones, they would be Facebooking live
Oh my
that shit.
Hey, look, a
Gosh.
dragon.
They
Yeah.
would just be like, hey, and they'd be, selfie.
It's weird because, like, if you read these stories, like, humans just somehow survive somehow. And then you look on the other side of the spectrum is, like, stupid deaths.
Yeah. Oh,
Especially
yeah.
that selfie phenomenon where people just, like, fall off of, like, a building.
Yeah.
Pokemon Go, you
Oh my
walk off a cliff.
god.
Yeah, that,
Yeah.
or even just
No.
them going next to like a river where there's live crocodiles, no like fences, or be like, oh, I want to get a selfie, and then of course you're gonna get bit, you dumbass.
Harambe. Yeah, I knew you were going to put it. How would you not put that in?
Mike's out for Harambe.
No, because it's like, you look at it, it's like
Yeah.
humans could survive a lot. And then
Yeah.
there's just like some humans that make the Darwin Awards and just somehow
Yeah.
off themselves.
I mean, sometimes you do what you gotta do to survive. Actually, there's a lot of,
Exactly, yeah.
when it comes to shipwreck stories, especially, they say that your body knows how to survive because this one guy was saying how he was shipwrecked for 200 something days. He was almost like an entire year. He was lost at sea, not shipwrecked, lost at sea.
Yeah.
I think he was in the middle of the Pacific, but he couldn't find his way. And one of the things was he had to kill fish that
Yeah.
were, there's barnacles that were forming on his boat
Oh wow.
or
Yeah.
his small craft.
Yeah.
And so fish started to come around there, so he'd kill fish to eat. Sharks, of course, came. But one thing I remember him saying, though, was that the weird things that happens is your body starts to crave things that you're not usually used to craving, and part of the reason for that is because your body knows what nutrients it needs to keep going. So the way it tells you is by giving you weird cravings. And one of the cravings he had was fish eyes. Like, for some reason, he just really wanted to eat those fish eyes. Like, he needed them. And so he kept eating them, and apparently there was like a nutrient in there that kept him going.
But if you've never tried fish eyes, how would you get a craving for it?
I mean, I guess that's where it comes to the whole idea of like knowledge, like
Yeah.
innate knowledge that the
Okay.
body. Like, for example, there's people who eat dirt sometimes, right? Because there's certain components in dirt that if you have nothing else to eat,
Yeah.
and you need it, it'll give you that component. So. Your body knows. I mean,
Yeah.
basically everybody's brain has a Johnson, and Johnson takes notes, and Johnson remembers.
Johnson?
It's
Oh, okay.
If Ryan was here,
Okay.
he'd know.
He'd be able to follow that up.
Basically, our joke is whenever we make like a reference to remember something, we're like, hey, write that down, Johnson.
Okay.
At some point, like, oh my gosh, we're gonna die, we're lost at sea. John's like, well, actually, do you know that if we ate this, we'd be okay? Good thinking, Johnson.
It's funny you say eat dirt because my late grandpa said that to my aunt one time to insult her. It's like the worst thing you could tell someone. Go eat dirt. She was upset.
But this time it could save your life. So.
Like,
Yeah.
I keep thinking when you said eat dirt, it was like Pokemon that eat dirt.
I did not
and
say
I
eat
was like,
dirt.
I'm so freaking nerd.
I said eat fish eyes.
No, you said eat dirt too.
In the example.
Oh,
that
yeah,
you did,
that's right.
You could also
Example.
eat dirt.
Yeah.
And fish eyes.
Well, speaking of other escape movies and things like that, have you guys ever seen 127 Hours, the James Franco movie? It's based off of true events.
I knew someone that passed out during that movie.
Well,
because it's so gruesome.
I'll get to that part, but the movie, what it's about is this. I forget the guy's name, but he went on a hike. I think it was in Arizona.
Oh, is it the Boulder guy?
Yeah, and his arm got caught, and he was stuck there for 127 hours. The part in the movie where he finally cut through the skin, he was about to cut the nerve, which is going to be the most painful part. Our movie actually had to stop because somebody had a seizure in the theater.
Seizure?
Dude, I've never seen this movie, but they actually show everything.
They show it James, you see his arm open, and you see he takes his knife, he barely touches the nerve, and he just yells out in pain because that's where where you get the feeling, and then right as he's about to snap it to be free, there's kind of like a bright light that comes in. It's from like the sun. Actually, I was reading articles. A lot of people at that scene were passing out or having seizures. Actually,
because of the light.
Because of the light, for whatever reason, that part where he was about to cut the nerve, just triggered something for people.
It's pretty gruesome.
Yeah, but again, you do what you got to do.
Yeah.
He was there for 127 hours, just stuck in between the rock.
Something not so bad to build yourself up to that movie. Watch Castaway when Tom Hanks.
There you go.
Knocks his cavity out.
Oh yeah, knocks his tooth out with the ice blade.
I couldn't stop laughing when he did that though. I don't know, for some reason. It's like, yeah.
Well said.
Well said.
Wow. I hope I never find myself in that situation.
Yeah.
Because I don't know. I like to think I would survive. I'm a pretty hard person. I can push myself, but at the same time, I don't know if I can cut my own nerve.
I think these days, since we are so pampered with what we know, like technology and all of that stuff,
right.
I think it's very difficult. I think it would be very difficult for our generation to survive something like that, like our parents' generation and beyond, where they actually would be out playing in nature and figuring stuff out. I think they would have a better chance.
But I really think after a while, instinct kicks in.
No, that's true too.
So anyone, even though they're like pampered, have cell phones and gadgets, eventually they're put into that situation. Like you said right there, they're gonna jump right into there.
Johnson starts getting facts.
Johnson starts getting knowledge about it.
That's true. Yeah.
You know what it is? It's because at first you're like, oh, I don't know what to do, and then eventually you get so desperate that the board of executives in your brain, they start like, okay, Johnson, we'll listen. Like, what do you got to say? What do you got, Johnson?
Talk to me.
Yeah.
Talk to me, Johnson.
Yeah, so you just got to read a lot of stuff now so you can store it away to know how to survive. Watch a lot of Bear Grylls, then you'll know how to survive in different temperatures.
But I love those escape stories, especially if you guys know about a new show on Netflix called The White Rabbit Project, who are like three of the people on there used to be on Mythbusters.
Okay.
So every episode they talk about a certain topic. One of the episodes in their first season is actually about prison escapes. So if you guys want to watch something kind of funny, and they kind of reenact some of them to see if they reenact the one that was actually about the hot air balloon.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, how it would actually happen if you actually had to do it yourself, and it was actually really difficult. Like they actually screwed up. So I don't even know how the two men actually went through with it and actually flew it out.
Right, yeah.
Huh?
To check that out.
Actually, let me ask you this: Have you done escape rooms before, Ken?
No, I don't want to pay people to put me in prison.
Have you?
It's fun, yes.
Yeah, I love. They're so.
I want to do one again.
Yeah, we should do it. Team building.
We should do it. Yeah. The one I did was you're not only trapped in a room, but it's trapped in a room with a zombie. So there was the added risk of you getting bitten, and so then you could die.
Our one had us like break into like a bank vault, I think, and so we had like that whole thing of like trying to like get through the bank vault. We had to use like a paper clip to like get a key out of the thing, and like it was cool.
That's cool. Yeah,
actually,
I definitely want to do one.
The place that we went to was like a bank that was converted, so they actually had like for one of the paths had like a giant safe.
Nice.
That you had to get through. Yeah,
that sounds really cool. Well, they have a lot of themes for it too. Like anything you could think of, they have it.
Yeah, I'll look up on Groupon. We'll see if we can find a good
deal. It's always on Groupon.
Yeah. I mean, let's. Usually I think the more people you get, the better. So we can get Ryan and a couple other people if we can.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Can he be the zombie?
Get Ryan?
Yeah,
because he's dead.
Yeah, he's not alive.
Well, Do you guys have anything to share or anything you want to add to what's going on with you guys? Like anything?
Nothing going on.
Yeah.
Same old, same old.
Write for a music website now.
Okay, what's that
It's
about?
called wearetheguard.com. I kind of write music reviews for them now.
Nice.
Okay.
Right after Noosh called me a hipster for collecting records.
Yeah.
Yeah, I reached out.
Maybe I got
This,
it. You got
yeah,
your
this place
job.
reached out to me. I was like, hey.
Wait, are you serious?
No, I'm gonna send you the art. I sent you I'm gonna send you this cover letter I wrote to them about I'm not a hipster douchebag, and that was the title of the
Nice.
thing. And somehow a week later I landed a job there.
Nice.
So you didn't even reference our show.
Dude.
Come on.
Yeah, I have this
I wanted to
jerk
say,
ass friend that
I wanted
called
to
me the
say-
hipster douchebag
I
for collecting records.
I wanted to say that the show got you a job. I wanted to be able to say we did something good with this show.
Maybe in coming weeks I'll get another job.
Yeah.
Don't worry about it. What's the worst that could happen? Volcanic Island? It's pretty bad, man.
Komodo dragons.
That's pretty bad. You went to an island, there's fire, and then you fought dragons.
Exactly.
Epic. That's like epic level stuff.
Let's bring back D&D.
That was the real D&D story.
That's pretty crazy. Wonder what happened to the people after. They probably went back to their
I mean,
pampered
the funny
lives.
thing is the people on the lifeboat. I mean, I think what happened. No, they did crash onto an island. Also, they were fine. Like they just waited for somebody to
Yeah.
pick them up. Like
Lounging
Yeah.
with
I
coconut
you know what
drinks.
it is? It's
Yeah.
it's that thing from Jurassic Park where like there's two islands
Mhm.
and one of them's a safe island and one
Yeah.
of them is like that's not Isla Sorna. This is Isla Nublar. Oh no.
It's like the thing that the group gets separated. One goes on the good path, one goes on
Yeah,
the really
exactly.
terrible path.
Yeah. Oh no.
They had all the coconuts and the parrots that
The hammocks.
yeah, the hammocks.
What is this place? It's a lizard cage. For what? Like the whole Jurassic Park
Yeah.
bird cage thing.
No, what was that movie
This is a
where
bird cage.
where's that movie? Was it Deep Blue Sea, or it was something where they actually at the end they landed on an island and then okay, that's cool, we're on an island,
Oh
and
my
then
gosh, yeah, what is that?
and then there's this big thing underground that was trying to get them. I was like, oh crap, and then the movie just ends right there.
Dude, by the way, you just reminded me of definitely a topic that I want to do. Have you guys ever heard? Do not look this up if I mention this. Do not look this up. I want to talk about it. Have you guys ever heard of a show called The Colony?
No.
I've heard of it.
Okay, don't talk about it then. But I want to talk about The Colony because The Colony is like some pretty. That is good stuff. That's good
Okay.
material. Okay, so that's your signal boost. Do you have nothing to signal boost?
No.
Restaurant doing okay? Everything
Well, our storefront is currently closed.
okay?
But we are still taking orders.
Okay, there you go.
And
So
donations.
if people want to place an order for anything, wedding
Yeah.
season is ramping up. So,
What is the information to?
the business name is the French Confection Company or the French Confection Co. Our website is thefrenchconfectionco.com. You can follow us on Facebook or Instagram, and you can see all of our different stuff that we've done before.
And also, please follow Ryan Noosh Are Dead on
Yes.
Instagram and Twitter. Our Instagram is
Ryan and Noosh are dead. I
our
think that's it, right? Yeah.
yeah,
And
our
then
Twitter.
Twitter is Ryan and Noosh, and then our email, if you want to email us at all, is ryanandnoosharedead@gmail.com.
and our Facebook is just Ryan Noosh Are Dead.
Yeah, facebook.com/Ryan and Noosh
Are Dead.
are dead. Right. Yeah.
Okay, great. I have nothing to signal boost aside from just I think I mentioned to you guys I'm representing Cal State Dominguez Hills on April 28th and 29th at a statewide research competition. So I'll be
Awesome.
presenting my research. And I'm just trying to figure out what the next steps are. I'm trying to get this research somewhere. So let's see how that goes. But yeah, that's about it. So thank you again, everyone, for joining us for another episode. We'll be back next week with more topics and hopefully a fourth person who's not here
Hopefully
today.
Ryan will come back from the dead.
Yeah.
If not, Ken will be back again.
I mean, well, whether or not, you should just come back because
yeah,
it just come
might
back.
as well.
I mean, honestly, even if we get other guests, we can have 5 people on the
Yeah.
show. So whenever you want to come, Ken, just come. At this point, I think that it's safe to say Ken is like the 4th person. Just come whenever you can, anytime.
I'm the 4th Beatle.
I'm never Ken. I'm officially telling you this. I'm never going to reach out to you to invite you. It is an open invitation. Anytime, Tuesday, 7 p.m. You're welcome to come out. All right.
Yeah, this is coming from the guy that forgot to invite me to his birthday.
I did. He forgot. Ryan forgot. Not me.
He invited me like 15 minutes before midnight. Jerk.
So, thanks for joining us. Our ending song today is going to be Together by Third Prototype. So we will see you next week, and have a good one.
See you on the other side. Stay alive. Stay alive. I got to keep it together. Keep it together. Keep it together. Keep it together. See you on the other side. Stay alive. Stay alive. I got to keep it together. Keep it together. I got to keep it together. Keep it together. Keep it together. Keep it together.
Ryan and Noosh Are Dead is made possible thanks to KDHR, the student-operated radio station of California State University, Dominguez Hills. For more information about KDHR, please visit www.kdhr.net. The intro song for this show is Space Ace by Blind. This music is made available thanks to Overclocked Remix. For more information, please visit ocremix.org.